Welcome back to the channel. It's Mazer. I'm gonna be freaking talking about the relatively new movie, Primitive War. Guys, I'm not really a movie reviewer because I'm very easy to entertain, so I can't tell you anything too crazy. But this movie has dinosaurs. It's got history because it takes place in 1968 during the Vietnam War. And I imagine there was dinosaurs. That's kind of like the two things they really get you to this point. Anyways, let's just go ahead and say right now, it's a pretty good movie. If you like dinosaurs, you'll love it. It has more dinosaurs than Jurassic World Rebirth, so it doesn't tell you much, but it's pretty good when it comes to the dinosaurs. I will go ahead and tell you, historical accuracy towards the actual Vietnam War is wishy-washy. I think they could have done better. But I understand the constraint to the movie because, first of all, the budget was not crazy high. It's really good for what the budget is. I don't even know the number, actually. I only researched the Vietnam War after just to make sure I was freshened up. I didn't actually look at anything decent besides just who made the movie. Anyways, I know it's a relatively small budget, and also it's an Australian movie. So it's kind of interesting how Australians made a movie about the American and Russian and Vietnam conflict. Well, at the time of the Soviet conflict. We'll get into that later, actually. By later, I mean relatively right now. So the movie is it's about the Vietnam War, right? These guys called the Vultures, guys. They have this mission to go rescue these guys who are supposed to be the best Marines or whatever, the best soldiers. I forgot what they said in the movie. But they're the green hats. And then they have to go rescue them in this valley. Turns out there's dinosaurs in the valley, guys. It's really bad, but really cool to watch. An important thing to know about the plot is that since it's a Vietnam War, there should be a lot of Vietnamese people. In this entire movie, I think there's only one Vietnamese soldier that's alive at any point in the movie. We see a fallen Vietnamese person relatively late into the movie, but we don't get to see the only person we see that was ever alive, legitimately fighting the war, is one girl, and she is the pawn of the Soviets, which is not exactly how that was going. Not exactly, I would say, because remember, guys, the Vietnam War was a proxy war between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. And the U.S. this movie takes place in 1968, like I already told you this. 1968 was the peak of American soldiers at one time being on the land. So it makes sense there's only American soldiers fighting for the American soldiers. That just makes sense. But here's the thing about the freaking Vietnamese side, I guess practically Vietnamese side at this point. I believe it's the North Vietnamese. Yeah, North Vietnamese. It's mostly the Vietnamese that are fighting. The Soviet Union couldn't really help as much, so they didn't have as much people on ground. So it was still mainly Vietnamese. They just sent weapons and stuff, all the AKs and all the tanks and whatever. So this movie gets it kind of backwards with how many Soviets you see in the movie compared to the one Vietnamese person. But of course, that's just down to casting things. But for historical accuracy, it's not great. Oh, and my biggest gripe with the historical accuracy is actually that in the movie they're called Russians instead of the Soviets. I just don't really care for that. But I think it's a one-time thing. They also say Soviets, they just also say Russians. I don't know. Anyways, here's the cool stuff, the dinosaur part. Well, I guess the history is also pretty cool. But the dinosaur part, I think, is where we're going to go to now. Here's the thing about dinosaurs. The CGI is bad sometimes, but it's still really good. And let me tell you, the dinosaurs we got in this movie are kind of crazy. Okay, let's just start off with the herbivores, because we got herbivores plural. We got Triceratops. It's a classic. We got, I don't even know what this dinosaur is called. It's a Parasaurolophus adjacent animal. It has the head, like I said, the weird little alien monster thing it has on the head, the Parasaurolophus has. It has almost an axe that comes out of his head. And I don't know what that dinosaur is because I feel like it's a little too niche for me to care about. Because it's a herbivore for one. And Also, we have good old fashioned Apatosaurus, Brachiosaurus, not Brachiosaurus. I think it's just Apatosaurus. Apatosaurus, actually maybe Brachiosaurus. But we also saw the Titanosaurus. Titanosaurus was also in Rebirth, which is pretty nice. But you know, look at the diversity in this movie. It's pretty good. And that's not even all the dinosaurs. That's just the herbivores. I think I forgot a herbivore. Did I? No, that's all of them. I believe they kept reusing the ripoff Parasaurolophus. Same ripoff, but whatever. Carnivores. So we have a lot of options here. We have the Quetzalcoatlus in the air. They have a cool kind of scene. I think that's kind of cool. They play like a vulture role almost, but they were big. They were threatening. There was this weird scene with like the Quetzalcoatlus's tongue, and I was like, I didn't even know they had that. I don't know if that's a create. Holy stutter, holic. I didn't know if that was like a creative liberty or whatever, but like the tongue was crazy. Anyways, Quetzalcoatlus. There's 2 T-Rexes in this movie. It's like a mom and a dad T-Rex. And it was super cool to see them. That was an epic freaking dinosaur to see. Epic bomb. You never usually see 2 T-Rexes in one movie. Especially ones that like are like beside each other. Like they're twins, you feel me? Well, I guess they're more than twins. They're literally like family. Anyways, there's also raptors. Raptors are like the main villain of the movie. We have velociraptors who exist. They're in the movie. I like that they're actually like relatively accurate. I think they actually are like scientifically accurate to my knowledge. I think they are. And then we have a name drop of Deinonychus, my favorite dinosaur, but it's only name dropped to compare it to the Utahraptor, which is the largest raptor, in case you guys didn't know. And the freaking Utahraptor is the threat in the movie. I don't even know if it's called Utahraptor, actually. I just watched a YouTube video that said it was Utahraptor. I don't remember them saying Utahraptor. I want to say it's Utahraptor because I remember the lady in the movie saying it's bigger than a Velociraptor and Deinonychus. So I'm just going to assume it's a Utahraptor. The point is it's a raptor and it's feathered, obviously. And it's really cool. I think all the dinosaurs are pretty like accurate to how they be in freaking real life. I forgot there's another freaking carnivore. It's the freaking, I'm saying freaking a lot now. It is the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus is very, very, very accurate. You can see that it's got those small little legs like it's supposed to. The head's more accurate. I remember seeing a lot of people like say about this movie it's gonna be stealing a lot of models from Jurassic Park and all that. I don't think they stole any models. They all look pretty original to me. Like, I think the Velociraptors, you could maybe say that. Like, it kind of looks like they just put feathers over them, but only kind of. T-Rexes, entirely different head, entirely different body. Quetzalcoatlus, entirely different. They actually have feathers on the Quetzalcoatluses. Quetzalcoatlus. Say Quetzalcoatlus 10 times fast for me right now. 3, 2, 1, go. You guys better be doing it too. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty good. Designs are really neat. I give it about 8 out of 10. My biggest issue, I didn't even get to the plot yet. We're gonna say that for later. My biggest issue with the movie was like the acting was kind of meh sometimes. I didn't mind it too badly. Like, it was still a good movie. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to get into like the directing. I wanted to make it an actual point. This is Australian made. So when we see the Americans, they're not good people. I really like that about war movies. I think I can't watch a war movie anymore if the Americans or anyone like the winning side can't look too good. Like I really like that when like the people on both sides are not like just horrible, but not just good either. Like, it just made for better action to me. So one of my biggest things that I liked about the movie was that, like, in the team of the Americans still are, like, kind of sucky people. Like, Americans first meet up with a Russian, and the Russian, like, literally saves their lives. And they're still bad-mouthing this girl because, like, she's a Russian. You know, of course they're going to be super hostile towards this girl. And then you got to remember that, once again, they are people. They're just being bad people. like, you know, obviously swearing all the time, being a hero, and not even being a hero, actually. A big point, well, not really a big point, but like a lot of the time you have these guys who are like saying, please, can we go home? I think the moment they get at Vietnam, like the moment they get into where like the mission zone is, they're like, hey, so we have enough evidence, we can just say that they weren't found and we can just go home. And so they're already like, we can leave now, we don't have to be in a war zone. And there's actually a very sad scene where there's one character who I believe is mentally challenged. We can see he's mentally challenged early in the movie because he like the team leader's asking like, you should go to therapy the next time you can. There's a scene where another person in the team sacrifices themselves because they get like overrun by Utah Raptors, right? And he blows himself out with the grenades, like, so, you know, protect everybody, you know, kill as many as you can while you're going, because he was already like wounded. It's really crazy because this guy is like even more haunted because of that, and he almost kills himself on the raft, just thinking about that. And it's like, wow, crazy. But then luckily he stopped. He said like, so the leader hugs him. He's like, we got this, man, we don't have to do that. And then unfortunately, like the moment they dock on the raft, they get overrun by velociraptors. And then the velociraptors, they go crazy and they actually drag the guy who was suicidal. I'm wondering if this is going to get me in trouble for saying suicidal and stuff like that. Remember, if you are suicidal, to get help. You're not alone. And it's important that you have people around you to talk to. And, you know, suicide's permanent. It should never be your final option. With that out of the way, he gets dragged away. And he's always getting like, he's using all his bullets, right, trying to like beat off these velociraptors. He reloads his gun, and instead of shooting the velociraptors, he just shoots himself, thinking about the guy who sacrificed himself. He's like, I don't know, I forgot exactly what he says, but like, I think he's like quoting him almost, saying like, I'm gonna be a hero, but he shoots himself. And it's like, that's not really a hero move per se. You shot yourself, and then also you didn't even like destroy the velociraptors that were with you. But that's not the point of the scene. I think the point of the scene was really just to show that the Americans were not just like unfazed by the war's trauma. And then like the commander sees this and like just has to like walk away because he doesn't know that he shot himself. I'm sure he knew because like he heard the gunshot, and then he also just like knows who this person is at this point. Anyways, that was really good. I did like that they didn't make it like just a really cool war hero movie. And another important thing is that the chief, or like the main guy in the Vulture Squad, he is getting orders from this other guy, Commander, who's telling the people like to go to the island in the first place. He's saying classified the whole movie, and he's only giving out information that they want to. And at this point in the movie, like halfway through, it becomes like an obvious struggle for power, because like the Soviet Union for some reason is making this particle accelerator so they can like essentially teleport weapons and people right to the White House and take it over, because this is again the Cold War. The freaking overarching commander is like, hey, we want you to actually not destroy the particle accelerator because like we could use it. But then these guys are like, I don't think we want this into the hands of anybody. And they kind of like abandon this guy. Not abandon him, but they're saying like, no, this is not good. And you know, it's like the classic tale that people always hear about Vietnam, about how, you know, it's really these poor guys who are suffering, and these rich guys kind of just like have ulterior motives, whatever. And I really like that. This is getting a bit of a long video, but I don't really care. It's a movie review. I shouldn't be short. You know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I really did like that about the movie. And an important thing to note is that the quote unquote bad guy, the general who's just like trying to say everything's classified and stuff, he doesn't die. He survives the movie. The main character dies in the movie. Spoiler alert, almost everyone in the Vulture Squad dies except for I believe 3 people. I think it's 2 people. Yeah, 1 girl and this one newbie guy who's like young. Weirdly enough, he was the only young character in the entire movie. Like, obviously the Vietnam War was gonna be a lot of young people, but they decided to not do it that time. But it's fine. The message is still got across. Like, you can see that he's still traumatized by the war. It's a very, very. I think if you care about history, you'll at least somewhat enjoy its historical accuracy, and maybe you'll be okay with just glossing over the inaccuracies. But I guess they just go over the actual plot at this point. I already talked about how they're sent to this island to recover a team. So they eventually find out that they all died, but they see a map that they left. Their dead body had a map. They're going to the site, and they go to the site. They find this girl. She's like, "Hey, I'm a paleontologist. I was here." Throughout the movie, they kind of figure out that the Soviets were trying to make a collider. They accidentally They accidentally used it and sent dinosaurs from the past to the present, and then that's how Vietnam became a dinosaur wonderland. Flash forward a couple of scenes later, they have now reached the new place they're setting up their collider, which is still in Vietnam. They decided to move it somewhere else, and they're trying to restart it, try to actually get to work again. But before that, the main hero and the rest of his team that survived, they go on. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna stop you." They didn't. They're doing obviously, trying to hide, do stuff. But long story short, they end up being able to blow up the collider. And then the day is saved. Psych. I forgot to tell you guys the most important part of the movie. Now we're at almost 20 minutes. This is the best part of the movie. This is the climax. Not even the climax. This is the conclusion. Apparently there's a lot of Utahraptors. So what I like about the title of the movie, Primitive War, it really comes into fruition. Okay, so this stupid dum-dum for the Soviets accidentally brings the dead corpse of a T-Rex to the base with the colliders at. And the generals, the Soviet generals, why would you do this? You're stupid. So the mom and dad T-Rex both pull up, and they see the dead kid, and they just start going crazy. Very cool scene. But that's not it. The main heroes, they are freaking going around, and they're trying to destroy the collider. After they destroy it, they're like, "Okay, the day is saved." No, the Utahraptors are covering up the entrance, and there's so many of them. The paleontologist girl was there's supposed to be 6 of them, and then freaking 20 of them appear outside the corridor, and you're like, "Oh my goodness!" And they're trying to run, trying to shoot them all. I think 2 people die in that scene, trying to run away from them, which is the most they ever died at once. Usually it's relatively spread out how they die, but I was dang, cooked. And then there's another scene where they finally get support from a helicopter, and the helicopter is coming down. They're shooting down, trying to kill all these Utahraptors. And it's just a really cool scene where you can see hundreds of Utahraptors running towards this one helicopter that's been landed, and they're all trying to shoot in I don't know why they're shooting at this point. Actually, they just keep shooting for a while, and then they eventually just leave. But a couple people die, not the main general though. And they leave and blah blah blah. And there's this really cool scene at the end of the movie. Well, I guess it's the credits, but they show really good. They use, I don't know what they use, but they make it look like it's old timey footage that's actually made back in the 60s and 70s, and they use it to make recordings of news reporters covering the dinosaurs and showing helicopters flying from dinosaurs, and it's a really cool sequence, and it's wow, it's a cool movie. I really like the movie, guys. Like I said, 8 out of 10. And I really think people should use the dinosaur concept more, because I really think it sold the movie. Because I I just freaking like dinosaurs, dog. What can I say? And also, it was a horror movie. It was rated R. It's not really horror, but it is rated R. Like, there's actually, like, gruesome deaths. And it's cool to see. I like to imagine that with a bigger budget, they could make more dinosaur-related movies. And it'd be cool. Unless they're, like, really into, like... I don't know. Here's the ending question for the video now. Because you already know how I feel about the movie. You already know I like it. I have a question to pose. If you made it 20 minutes into the video, which like no one does, if you made it this far, type in the comments, I made it this far, Mazer. I appreciate your video this time. And then anyways, the question I want to pose to you guys is, when someone made the Primitive War movie, what was more important to them, the war or the primitive part? Like, do you think they cared more about dinosaurs just being in a movie? Like, did they just want to make a dinosaur horror movie? Or do they really just want to do, like, a war movie? And they were like, how do I make this good enough? Add dinosaurs. Like, what do you think was more important to them? Dinosaurs or war? I'm realizing that the questions kind of answer itself. Like, I watched the movie, so I know what they cared about more. And also, like, it's the Vietnam War, so, like, that's, like, the least war ever. It's kind of just, like, a massacre, really. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Answer the question in the comments below anyways, because why not? See you guys next one, and bye.